Betty had been working hard all day, buzzing here and there and back again. She was starting to get tired. Buh, buh, buh. Betty happened to be flying near April, who was lazing in her swampy water. When April heard Betty going buh, 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 April got scared and screamed, "Ah!" Kathy, snoozing in the sun nearby, was startled awake by the scream. When she scrambled to her feet, a hairball got caught in her throat. Kathy hacked away until her fur ball came out. Wanting to flee from the embarrassment of the grossness she just spit out, Kathy headed for town. It wasn't long before she happened upon a curious sight. A circus tent had been pitched just outside of town. She wandered in to see what there was to see. Danielle was practicing her latest feat, balancing on a ball on one leg. She could already do it with 2 legs. And who are we kidding? Of course she could already balance on 1 leg. Duh! Elizabeth was watching Danielle perform her new trick. Danielle called out to her, "What trick do you want me to do next?" Elizabeth thought it would be great to see her bounce upside down on the ball on her head. She also thought it'd be really funny to see her do a headstand while spinning the ball on her tail. "Well, what do you want to see next?" Danielle asked again. Elizabeth couldn't make up her mind. She only answered, Danielle didn't have the patience to wait any longer for Elizabeth's answer. Besides, she was distracted by a smell. "Do you smell that, Elizabeth?" Danielle asked her elephant pal. "I don't smell anything, but I hear something," Elizabeth answered. "I smell fish," Danielle said. "What do you hear?" "Sounds like..." Meanwhile, Hilary the hippo was sleeping peacefully with her nose just out of the water. Irene the iguana started laughing to herself. She tiptoed over to Hilary's holding area at the circus. Eh, 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 Irene peeped at her. Hilary snapped open her humongous mouth. "What? What is it?" She stood and her mammoth mass rose from the water. She looked around and saw Irene. "Oh, it's you, Irene. I'm going to get you." Hilary started after Irene, who swiftly fled. Hilary was soon panting out of breath. She looked around and shouted over her shoulder, "Who wants to spend time with you anyhow? I'll go find someone less obnoxious to be around." Hilary wandered off toward the children's petting zoo area. Hilary greeted Grace the goat. "How are you this fine morning?" Grace didn't respond. Hilary lumbered slowly closer and called out again, "Good morning!" Grace dug in her back hooves and let out a "Get out of here!" Hilary was so startled she started walking backwards, which is difficult when you're a big gal like Hilary. By the time she made it back home, she sounded like this. Joanna the jaguar came dancing by Hilary's habitat. "Hi, Joanna," Hilary called. But Joanna was too focused on her dancing to pay attention. She kept dancing right on past. Karen the kangaroo heard Hilary, though, and jumped over the fence around her enclosure and hopped on over to Hilary. "I heard you call to Joanna and saw her ignore you," Karen said indignantly. "Seems no one wants to be around me today," Hilary said sadly. "That's nonsense," Karen said. But just then she heard something clanking. It was the keys of the animal keeper. She was making the rounds. Karen didn't want to get in trouble for leaving her area and hopped off, leaving Hilary alone again. "Bye," Hilary said to no one. "Why does no one want to be around me today?" Hilary moaned. "Why?" Leah the lion came wandering past. Hillary thought she was going to answer her question, but all she said was, Leah! Oh no, was all Hillary could say. Nicole the nuthatch was feeling kind of miserable. She was sitting on a wire above Hillary's home. Hillary called out to her, Nicole! Nicole! But Nicole's ears were all plugged up from her cold. All Hillary heard her respond was, Meanwhile, Michelle the monkey was performing her act. One of her favorite parts was to run through the crowd, up and down the stairs and across the seats. It thrilled the audiences. Of course, Michelle's favorite part was snatching a meatball from an unsuspecting audience member. For Michelle, it was deliciously fun to be part of the circus. Michelle grabbed a meatball and dashed out of the circus tent. The audience loved her antics. Michelle stopped to eat her meatball and leaned back against Olivia's tank while she ate. Michelle, will you take a look at my throat? Do my tonsils look red to you? I'm eating, Olivia. I don't want to look into your mouth. Oh, please, I'm just sure I'm going to need my tonsils removed. What do you think? Please take a look. I can't see into my mouth. Please look for me. I'm going to find a more suitable dining area, Michelle said and took off. Michelle stopped in front of where Hillary was sitting and moping. Michelle took a big bite of her meatball. Hillary asked, What you got there? Michelle pointed to her meatball and just said, Well, what is it? Michelle the monkey popped the rest in her mouth and was only heard saying, Could have at least shared a little, Hillary said as she watched Michelle stride away. The chilly fall air was bothering Pauline. I could see my breath. I miss my home, she said as she flew, trying to keep warm. I have an idea, she said, and swooped toward Hillary's habitat. Pauline called down to the hippo, Hillary, Hillary. Hillary looked up. Hillary, could I please come sit with you? Would you help me keep warm? Hillary liked that someone wanted to be with her, even if it was only because she wanted something. Hillary was happy to help. Sure, Hillary said, and Pauline landed on her broad back. Betty was buzzing around the grounds and flew past Pauline, perched on Hillary's hind. Betty was getting tired and started to putter out. Buh, buh, buh. Hillary grew a bit nervous when Betty landed on her nose. Hillary was trying not to move a muscle when another bee came flying up to talk to Betty. Betty, come quick, the bee said. It's Queenie. You upset her. She's expecting you back. Are you sure? Betty asked. Of course I'm sure, the other bee responded. When I left, she was making that noise. You know what I mean. Quack, quack, quack. Uh-oh, Betty said. You're right. She's upset. I have to get going. With that, Betty forced herself up and flew off. And Hillary, for the first time that day, was glad that someone left her alone. Betty was on her way back to the hive when she noticed something unusual. She knew she shouldn't stop, but she was curious, even if she was still tired. She flew just beyond the fence around the circus grounds. And what did she see? It was a rabbit. It was Roberta, and she was tugging and pulling at something. Roar, roar, roar. Now Betty was more curious. What was she trying to get? It seemed buried under the fence. Roar, roar, roar. Finally it came loose. It was a carrot. Or was it? Roberta sniffed it and then hopped off without it. Betty flew in closer and saw it was just a stuffed carrot toy a child must have dropped long ago. Betty felt badly for the rabbit who had worked so hard for nothing. Then suddenly she felt badly for herself. Queenie would not be pleased. Betty buzzed off in a hurry.